I always called him Papa. As many of you called him Papa Rick, I called him that as well. My grandfather was a farmer. He loved the land. He loved the soil. He loved crops. He loved cows. He loved hay. He loved milk. He loved his tractors. He loved his grandkids. He loved the Redskins, and he loved the Braves. Fair enough. But most of all, he loved Lil. He was a gentle man, a sweet man. He had a quick wit, always joking, making people smile. My grandfather was a great athlete in his youth. He excelled in cross country and baseball. Matter of fact, there was nothing more he enjoyed talking about than farming or sports. Anytime that there was a game on and he wasn't working on the farm, which was hardly never, he would be watching a game, especially the Braves, which was his favorite team since he was a kid, because there was no other teams on TV to watch. But it's also a matter of fact that no matter how much he loved the Braves, after a long day of work on the farm, he'd be exhausted and no sooner watch the game that he would fall asleep. That, of course, is when the rumbling would start. As anyone can attest to who has stayed the night at Papa Rick's house or spent a few hours over there, this man was an award-winning snorer. A dead sleep 3 rooms away with his snoring. Matter of fact, he'd wake up anybody who was within earshot, say Bedford County. And those are the things that I remember, and those are the things that I will remember. Talking about sports for hours and hours. Riding on the tractor, taking his hat off his head, putting it on mine as he let me drive. Well, at least I thought it was. He had a hand on the steering wheel the whole time. Being awoken by a monstrous roar in the next room. But what I will remember most of all is that my grandfather was a great man, a good husband, a good father, a good grandfather, and a dear friend. I have a poem that I'd like to share with you. Death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away to the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air, solemnity, or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed, at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effect, without the trace of shadow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There's absolute, unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind? Because I am out of sight. I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere, very near, just around the corner. All is well. This is not goodbye, Papa. I know I will see you again. Until then, I'll always be your pal. I'll always be your buddy.
And Sylvia would like to share these words with you. Some 35 years ago, our mom married a gentle man named Richard O. Hawkins. After only a short period of time, we realized that this man was all about family. Cannot remember a holiday or a birthday that he wasn't there. He accepted all of us as his family, and there are quite a few of us. He loved to watch his grand and great-grandchildren having fun. I never heard him get angry or raise his voice to one of them. To say he had the patience of Job would be an understatement. Instead of using words, he whistled. I'm sure that there were different tones to his whistles, but that was for him to know. In all these years, I never saw his anger or heard him raise his voice. Only the love he had for his family. I could go on and on about his wonderful qualities. But if you only knew him for a short period of time, you know he was generous to a fault, knowledgeable, and a hard worker. Knowing he was a God-loving man, I am sure that right now he is in heaven dancing with Mom. I will truly miss him, but am comforted by the promise that I will see him again. He leaves us all with a wonderful example of what love is and should be. Thank you, Sylvia, for those beautiful words. I know Rick asked me to say a few words to tell you some of the things about his dad. I'm like, well, I kind of think he lived his eulogy. But I know growing up on a dairy farm myself, there are just some qualities about farming that just run deep. You're an honest living. You know what it is to work hard for an honest day's pay. Your word is as good as it gets. You don't need to have contracts because your word stands for it all. It is wonderful in life to be able to find someone to love. But when someone is able to find two individuals to have a wonderful life with, what a blessed individual he is. Rick enjoyed loving both of his wives, and he enjoyed providing for them. Honest living. Embracing life, as we've heard time and time again. Experiencing love. Sharing great humor. Whether it was at family gatherings and Christmas gifts that you never knew what was going to be inside that box. Or maybe if you came for a housewarming and you just didn't know what was inside those bags. These are signs of a who experienced a life well lived. And who now have heard those words of his Father. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Amen.
Thank you each for sharing, and thank you again for being here and the service at Virginia Memorial Park.